Hello, it's Kayren Spain of Kayren Spain Designs. And as I have promised for quite a while, I'm going to take you on a tour to show you some things that I have, projects that I have done, a lot of them on YouTube for my house. So here we go. This is my front porch, and we'll walk up. On my bench, I painted the little red birds on either side. They were not originally on the bench. I just glued them on there after I painted them, and because I love birds. And not too long ago, I got this cute little doorbell. It had two green birds with yellow breasts, and I went, no, that won't do. I need a blue bird and a red bird, so that's what I did. And my entry has my initials. Those are originally gray, and I put these stripes in the colors of my house, the trim of my house, and a little brighter green than the side of my house, but it's okay, right? Now we'll go inside. And let's see where we start after I can get the door shut behind me. Up above my coat rack is a canvas. Originally, that canvas was something else. I decided one day I'm gonna try my hand at painting on a canvas, which I had never done before. So I took it down, I painted over the painting with a primer, then I put on that blue color, and then I painted my design. So those are my first flowers, which turned out okay, I think. And now we'll just turn and go quick into my powder room. And I also have put door knockers on all my doors. So when you're here, you can go knock to see if anyone's in here. One of my first projects was this towel cabinet. I had that in New York. It was pink. And when I started painting, I did my thing to it, and I will open it and you can see the inside. The doors are the black and white. Very cool. And over here, we'll go down. I painted that frame of one of my mother's pictures, photographs. And then this little table was her telephone table. And I did that some years ago. My daughter Elizabeth has claimed that. So, and I hear Alexa with an alarm going off, and I don't know why. So I'm gonna have to tell her to stop, if you don't mind. Alexa, stop. Oh, you know what? I do have to go. I have a nail appointment, so I will pick up on this in a bit. It was just such a beautiful day. I wanted to take you around the house while it was so bright. And if it's not this cheery when I get back, I'll wait and do this tomorrow. All right, bye. So Alexa got me off to my nail appointment. Now I'm back, and we'll continue the tour. In my foyer, there's these two candle holders that a neighbor gave to me. She was moving away. They were solid, kind of antique gold all over. And I did my thing to them, and I love them. And into my kitchen we'll go. And there's some things in here. All this on my island are things that I painted. Things that I bought at different places that were just raw metal, plain metal. The little pedestal on the left here was like a brown metal, and on the right that was like a silver tinish metal. I got that at Hobby Lobby. And then this middle thing, this lantern like, was all black with the, I can't think of what you call the glass, the like leaded glass. It's got a name. I didn't paint that, but I painted above it and beneath it. And then going on in my kitchen, way up high, was an old urn that I had that was green with flowers all over it, kind of old ladyish. And that got changed. I've done many of these cookbooks for my family. They're fabric bound, and I just find the color they want in their kitchen and paint them to go with their kitchens and fill them with all the family recipes. This is like a lemonade jug that I did a long time ago. And I don't know if you can see it, but way up high are the little butterfly vases that are on these stands that were all black, and I changed those to a little style. And so, well, here we go. Way over there, I painted that little butterfly key box. And I see my flowers need to be turned around. I redid them this morning after the Super Bowl. I'd had all just red and white. Then I added back in my other colors. But those are chargers that I painted that actually go on my dining table when I have more people. But these I did many years ago. I had bought them at a Pottery Barn outlet, and I thought they were chargers, but they were actually to hold pillar candles. I bought 12 of them. Painted the vase and the hurricanes and the candle holders that are the black and white and the gold. So my dining room table is very whimsy, which I love, of course. And over here was a Hobby Lobby pedestal that was all white, and I did that, and I did that tall candle holder. And the base, or the whatever, for the orchid, did that. And these are my favorite little deer that I keep out all year long. They were just for Christmas years ago. I had gotten them at Walmart, and they were brown. I had them out on my deck. They started peeling. They had little wreaths around their neck, but those are long gone. And I brought them in and did a little thing to them, and so they stay on my grand piano all year long. Over here in my hallway, well, I guess first we'll go to this little table. I bought this little table at a neighbor's estate sale. It was just a mahogany colored wood, and I had fun with that. That was one of my first attempts at butterflies and flowers, and of course the bottom of it I think is really cute. When I first started painting, my neighbors came out of the woodwork giving me things they were throwing out, and this was a metal trunk that it was pretty hideous. And this is one of the first things that I painted. It's also painted on the inside, but I won't show you because it's stuffed with stuff, and so I can't show it to you. This I got at a thrift store, and it used to be in my backyard, and it was very colorful when I painted it for my backyard, I decided to bring it in, sort of rescue it. It was starting to peel. And at night, it lights up, and it's a beautiful, like a pagoda. And with the candle in the middle, underneath it, it lights all the windows up above, which is really pretty. This was another thrift store purchase. And it was a brown base, solid brown, but it had all of that detail. And I had a lot of fun painting that. A lot of fun. I love the little elephant heads. Okay, let's see where we go next. In my living room, it's mainly tables that I have painted. This little table I have had since I lived in New York, and it's a fold-up tray. I keep it down all the time. It's where I do everything. And let's see here, trying to get my remotes away so I can show it to you. And now the pencil fell. But that was one of my first attempts at a thistle flower and flowers in a vase, in an urn, I guess. And another thing that I do is I sew, and I bought these sofas in New York. The body of them, the velvet, has lasted really well, but the cushions needed a change, so I had those cushions recovered, and then I personally covered the back cushions, not those black ones, and not the butterfly, but the blue ones, which actually reverse to the same pattern as on the seat. And then the cushions behind, really inexpensive fabric I got at Hobby Lobby, and they reverse to the pattern that's on the bottom of the cushion to my sofa. I can flip this cushion over, and it's the pattern of this cushion that I covered. So that's something that I did. Over here is another little table that I painted. It's another one that I got from a neighbor's estate sale. And it's a very whimsy little table. I had a coaster made, took a picture of the top of the table, and had a coaster made to go on it. It's got a really cute base. Another thing I did a long time ago, I love to paint lamps. So found this lamp at some place, I don't know. It had these cute little birds, and so I painted, I don't know if it's showing up. I painted the lamp, and I got a shade for it. And in the summertime, my deck is really, really colorful and pretty, but it's not pretty right now, so I won't show it to you. There's some things out there that I've done. And these sconces I painted, once I changed some color, I added kind of a peacock turquoisey blue color to my house, to the front doors, and I used the same color to change these sconces that were burgundy to the blue color. Okay, and oh, here's the little step stool that I did a long time ago. Very whimsy. I used that to get up to my receiver, which is way up in the roly-poly sky. And way further in the roly-poly sky is an urn that used to be brown, and it was at another spot, and I painted that. And honestly, you can't see it very well. Let me see if I can pull it in. Anyhow, it turned out really pretty. It's sitting way up there. Okay, let's go back. Whoops, no, I don't want that. I want to go back to normal. Okay. Now, I think that's all in my living room. And now we'll go into my bedroom. I don't think there's a lot in here, except I did paint this lamp. It was one of the first things that I painted. And I bought the lamp because I loved the shade so much. I thought it was so unusual. And the lamp, though, was pretty ugly. So I just did a little thing to it, which I love. And then up here, I paint frames. My daughter gave me that little heart. My mother, my friends, I painted that frame. And the neighbor gave me this little box for my pill box collection. And it was black. And so I put the gold back in the back and added the colors all around to make it a little more attractive in my viewpoint anyway. And let's see, down here, can't see it very well, but there's a tray. I got this tray at the merchandise mart, and it looked like it had come from India. It was this really red wood, but I loved it because it had a lot of relief, what I call relief, flowers that I could paint. So I had fun with that. And over here is one of the projects I did on YouTube. It's a little plant stand that I got at an antique shop. It was just a brown wood, and it was one of the first things I did doing my butterflies and some little flowers. It turned out really cute. There are the butterflies down on the base. And I see something. I don't know, my house is kind of a mess. But this little clock, that was something that I took on to change. And then there's a frame that I painted. And I'm trying to go pretty fast past my kids. They may not appreciate me putting them on YouTube. This was a candlestick that I painted to go underneath my cherubs. Used to have lots of cherubs in my house. I'm kind of whittled down to a few. Well, actually, here's some. This lamp I found at a thrift store, and it was just black with some gold. And I call this my very French lamp. I painted this as one of my YouTube projects a while back, but it's a very interesting piece. And next we'll go into my master bath, and I've talked about the two-way fireplace, which I'll show you. The two-way fireplace that goes into my jacuzzi tub. And I just finished painting this fire screen, which I can move it over to my fireplace if, say, I have company in the house and I want to take a jacuzzi bath and someone's here. And I just finished doing that little flower arrangement to go with the fire screen, and I don't want to get me in the picture. And up above the mantle was a painting. It was a magnolia blossom, a big magnolia blossom. And I was tired of that, so I took it down, pulled it out, turned it around, and painted the painting on the back. And that's, I don't know if you can see, one of my first little birds that I painted, but that is one of my favorite things that I've done lately, painting on paper. Okay, I'm gonna pause it and go downstairs. All right, we'll head down. This is one of my most recent projects. Oh, let me get it back to there. I saw in a magazine where they had a stairwell that was painted red, and they said they just pulled out all the old family pictures that were stuffed in boxes, and they hung them on the wall. So I did the same, and some of these frames you can see that I painted. I may have to get okay from my kids to do this part. But anyhow, it's a neat idea if you have a lot of family pictures and you just don't have room to put them up. And this is going down to my family room in my terrace level. And this is another part of the wall. And these are old family plates that I grew up eating on, and that's a painting from my growing up house that was a log house on a lake in Opelika, Alabama. And above this curio cabinet is my crazy duck and two lights that I did a long time ago. After I painted that duck, one of my daughters said, somebody called 911, mom's finally lost it. This curio was my daughter's for her dolls. One of my daughters for her dolls, way back. I got to get out of the way here. And it's full of stuff that I painted from things that people gave me. That lantern that someone was giving away. This little box with the hummingbird. I got that at a thrift store. And my neighbor gave me all these mugs that I painted, and my neighbor gave me that little bunny pot, and a friend gave me the apple that I painted, and that turkey I bought from Hobby Lobby a couple of years ago. And then down here are things I painted that go under a Christmas tree at Christmas time. There's a train and I can't get to it, a truck and a plane. And oh, here's a magazine. It's actually a trash basket and I use it for magazines. Let's see, where else do we go? Okay, everywhere you go, there's something. That's a lamp that I painted, a frame. Folks, I just take things that are in my house that I'm tired of, that I want to redo, and I'll go in here only to show you a little table that I painted for my granddaughter. She's gotten too old for it, but it was from a thrift store, and it was just plain wood, and I had a lot of fun doing that, and she used it for a long time. And in here, over here, is a dollhouse that I built from scratch, from a kit, and it's really adorable. I got it on a turntable. Turns around. I don't knock anything off. There's 4 rooms. I don't know if you can see very well, but there's a bedroom, there's mom and pop, and there's a bathroom. And this is supposed to be the kitchen, but my granddaughter turned it into a nursery for babies. And this is like a TV room right now, but it can be a music room with a grand piano, or it can be a dining room that has a buffet and a table and chairs. And it can be all set with all the dishes and silverware and candles. And this is some little baby stuff, a little stroller and a rocking horse. And then over here is a dream house that I constructed for one of my daughters. That is a very long story about what all is going on there, and I won't go into it because it would take me forever. But trust me, it would be quite something if it ever got built. It would take winning the lottery for sure. All right. Oh, and that's my balloons from last night's Super Bowl. Sorry, Chiefs. Oh, I won't even go there. I love Patrick Mahomes so much, but they had a horrible night. This is a tree that first was a Christmas tree, and then it turned into a family favorite things tree. And so I have each ribbon is a different child with their initial and their children's initials, and at the side of each initial is their favorite things. And everything on here is hand painted for whatever child, and they gave me a list of what their favorite things were. I won't go through this whole thing, but it's quite a gun. One of my grandsons loves guns. Anyway, it was fun doing. And then my grandson up in New York, guess who he loves? Tom Brady. And I painted him a helmet with the Patriots, and that's his first car. Anyway, the tree's just full of really cool stuff, and each thing means something to my family members. All right, let me see here. Okay, up here on this wall is a cup rack that I did many years ago, and it's got mugs, a mug rack, I guess you call it. Mugs from all over the world. A lot of my travels, I have mugs that are from different places. And let's see, we keep going. And way over here is a plate rack that I painted a long time ago. And way over here, well down here, is a tray of sorts that I did a long time ago. And more things. These were, things that people were throwing out, old things. The lamp was from a thrift store. The deer was my mom's. And let me see if I can go in on that. That was my mother's. The tray is just an old tray that I painted. The oil lamp was originally pink with little old lady flowers on it. And that was a depression glass lantern. It was also pink, but pink depression glass. So I just take things like that. I have paint frames. I paint lamps. That little lamp over there. I painted that little 3-stand thing I got at a thrift store. This tray was one of the very first things I ever painted. This was my mother's, and it was kind of a botanical print. But I had to do something with that. All right, we're gonna head towards the guest bedrooms. And these I just finished. I'm gonna go back. Okay, this is, I call it a shrine to my mom. And these little urns were hers, and they were that brown color you see all over. This is also a YouTube project that's fixing to go up. And so I just took it in and painted parts of it to kind of update it. And I pulled out the old lady flowers, I call it, and put in a topiaries, and I think they look really fresh now. And here's a chest. This is actually a sewing chest. If you open it up, it has drawers for thread and all your sewing items. I did that a very long time ago. And this little candle holder, really cheap little gold metal. It was my mom's, and so I painted that. It had a cute little shade on it. And then this is a bedroom I had just completely redone. And one of my daughters was here and said, "Mom, this bedroom does not represent you, and you need to do something about that." So I did, and I took down frames that had animals, elephants and all kinds of kind of jungly animals in them, and I put my children in there, and I painted the frames. I did that all around the room. These were pictures that were given to me, or the frames that had the elephants and so forth in them by a neighbor, and so I just pulled out what was inside and put it in my family. And I painted the frame way up high that's framed around my grandmother's home in Tuskegee, Alabama. My Nana, she lived in the old plantation home way out in the country in Tuskegee. And so I've always wanted to get that reframed and rematted, and I got it rematted, but I just painted the frame. And painted these little bookends. That's the last of the remains of the animals that were in this room. And in here, that was brown. Now it's green. It was kind of it was like bamboo with brown wicker. And the little soap dish was brown with wicker. And then that was a little soap dish that I got at a thrift store many years ago. And that little towel holder, I just freshened it up. It was very, very animal-y, and I repainted it and made it a Kayren Spain design. And inside the bathroom here, these again were frames that had animals, jungle animals. They were beautiful, but I took out what was there, turned it around, and painted my flowers on the backs of the paintings that were in there. So, yep, that's what I do. And this, all I did to this was paint the edge, put the edge around it to kind of make it a little bit more interesting. And we have one more room. I won't do my studio because well, maybe I will. I did it on one of my projects the other day. But this is my whimsy bedroom that got me started painting. And that was my mom's chest. It was brown with little old flowers down on the drawers. And now it's not old-fashioned anymore. That lamp I got at a store and painted it. This little crib I got at a thrift store. And the mirror and the little wall hanger, that was given to me by one of my daughters, I think. And this is one of my most recent YouTube projects that I just painted a few weeks ago. And I'm really proud of that. I love it. And if you go around the room, everything you see, painted the lamp, the clock, the little pig, little chef pig, all the frames, the mirror, the critters, I call them my critters, which I love them. These were things that my neighbors were throwing out, and they were peeling and awful and dated, and they just needed to have a new life. So I gave them a new life. I call them my critters. And this chair, this is something else that I painted a long time ago, which I love. I think it's very cute. Okay, I'm going to pause this and go out to my studio. Before I go out there, you have to see my other crazy ducks. These little ducks, it's a pair of them. They go outside in my backyard in the summertime. But in the winter, to save their little lives, I bring them in so that they don't get ruined. Okay, here we go. Out in my studio. There's a glare on some of this stuff. That hat, I went to a luncheon a long time ago. You had to decorate a hat. And so I bought the ribbon and the vinyl, and I made a band and painted the ribbon, and it did have a red bird on the side, but I gave that to my granddaughter who wanted it. This light fixture is something that I bought at an antique store. I had it actually in the trash at one point because I didn't think I could do it. And then I finally took it out and saved it and gave it a new life. Down here is where I wash my brushes, and it's just a plain old sink, and I had to do my thing to the doors. And there is a dustpan and broom, and all of these bottles, they're cobalt blue bottles with cobalt glass stoppers that a neighbor gave to me when I first started painting. I had like 2 cases of them and painted them all. That's a few of what's left. I sold a bunch, I gave a bunch away, and I have some upstairs in my kitchen, high above my cabinets where there's a transom window. These are just little cheap sconces that I painted for my studio. And that lamp was metal, and the shade was, it was a shade that went on the bird lamp upstairs. I painted it with the little blackbirds. That shade was on that lamp, except now it's painted orange to go with the orange lamp. Don't ask me why I do that. People think, oh, you're Tennessee fan. And I go, no, I'm not a Tennessee fan. And there's a little bird on the top. This is a futon that makes a bed for guests. And this is a little thing that a very special friend of mine, Morgan, gave me. It says Hugs. I don't know if you can see that I painted. And that screen divides my studio where I make the mess from this part where I can sit and rest. This lamp is a lamp that I bought at a thrift store, and the little candle I got at a thrift store. I did not paint the table, nor did I paint that frame, nor did I paint the shade. But I painted the lamp and the candle holder. Over here is where I do my drafting and designing of things, especially if I'm designing houses or somebody wants me to renovate a home. I can do that, do a draft. And so this is just my messy studio. I have a huge desk that goes halfway around, and I end up painting more on this rolling table so that I can move it around and I can film. And there's my ring light and all my other lights that I use. I'm getting ready for a granddaughter to come, and we're going to paint that E on a YouTube, for a YouTube video. And this is where I photograph all the things that I paint for my future books that I make. And then back behind here, everything's I've got all this stuff for filming. A sewing machine, this is where I sew. And that's just stuff lined up, ready to paint. And there is the noisy air conditioner that causes me so much grief whenever I'm trying to film a video, and it's causing lots of noise in the background. There's a little girl I painted back there that's holding her arms out with blue birds and red birds. I love her. And here is Justin James and a guitar that I painted that he bought. I've painted 6 guitars. There's a Kleenex box and a lamp. This lamp was on the side of the street. One of my neighbors was throwing it out, and I took it. It was like peach, a peach-colored lamp with a peach-colored shade. I threw away the shade, painted the lamp, bought a new shade, and there's my cash box. Whenever I have done a show before, and that's the cash box, and a little purse. I painted those, and the Scotch tape dispenser. Nothing goes unpainted around me, folks. But this is where this is my happy place. This is my place where I go every day to get away from the real world. And there's the beautiful Lake Lanier out there. And I explained before, these windows are vinyl. I wanted to enclose this. This is just a concrete porch beneath my deck above, and we enclosed it with these, it's called vinyl enclosure, and they're made of vinyl, but they're very strong, and I can keep it heated and cooled, and I have my view. I don't lose my view. I couldn't afford to put in glass all the way around, so that was my solution. Okay, folks, again, it's Kayren Spain of Kayren Spain Designs, and you've now had a tour of all the crazy things I've painted, and this is what I do, and I do for friends and neighbors and family, and I will do for you if you get in touch with me through my email that's at the bottom of all my YouTube projects. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.